Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. We're family, right? We're Giants family, and one thing that family does not do. Family doesn't lie to each other. A good healthy family does not lie to each other. And I'm gonna tell you here. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I do not feel good about this game. I do not feel good about this game, and I know a lot of people feel the same way that I feel. And it's not a whole issue of optimism and hope. I'm not talking about hope and optimism. I'm hoping to win the game. I'm rooting to win the game. I'm just talking about how I feel about this game when I look at the matchup, when I look at the roster. I don't feel good about the matchup. Both sides of the ball, I don't feel good about the matchup. Defense more than offense, surprisingly. At least I saw the offense have some success last week. But again, that was against the Washington Commanders, and we already know that defense is not very good. The Cleveland Browns, in my opinion, have a top 5 defense. If they're not already ranked top 5, they're probably right outside of the top 5. But that is one of the top defenses in the league. Talented on all 3 levels: the front, the linebackers, and the secondary. Talented. They got key players at every level on the field. It's going to be a big test for our offensive line going against their defensive line or their defensive front. And you can say that, the New York Giants, as far as the offensive line, with the eye test, have looked a lot better than seasons past. I mean, I don't even think it's a question. They were able to keep him protected for the most part in week 1 against the Vikings. We saw that there was time. We saw that there were some guys open. We just didn't get the performance that we needed to get or we wanted to get. And then you look at week 2 against the Commanders, we were able to push the ball. We were able to score touchdowns. We were able to run the ball. And we were able to pass as well. A heavy dose of that was Malik Neighbors. But again, that is the passing game. He is a wide receiver 1. We gave him wide receiver 1 targets. Can't knock a guy for going to his wide receiver 1 18 times. If it's not broke, what? Don't fix it. Absolutely, right? Of course. But I'm looking at this game, man, looking at the roster. I watched the Cleveland Browns game 2 days ago. And the defense is flying around. Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett. JOK is becoming a star, becoming a household name because the people that know that JOK is a very, very good linebacker. And then you look at the secondary. You got Del Pitt, you got Ward, and there's no lack of talent when it comes to that defense. And also very well coached by Jim Schwartz. We are familiar with Jim Schwartz from the Eagles, from the Detroit Lions. He's been around the block. Very, very seasoned defensive coordinator, knows what he's doing, and has his guys executing his game plan. Like, game planning is one thing, players executing is the other. And when you get both, you get a good game plan and also players executing. It's just fantastic. Which brings me to my defense, the New York Giants defense. I'm down on Shane Bowen. Not a surprise. I'm down on Shane Bowen. But I also have to take a step back and think about things logically, right? So even though I'm not happy with how Shane Bowen's defense is looking, it's because I have expectations stemming from what Wink Martindale started to do with this defense last year, right? It's not the same scheme. It does not look the same. It's not played the same. It's not the same level of aggressiveness. And also, these guys do not have it down yet. That is clear. They too many times you're watching these games and players are looking at each other trying to get the signals, which is normal stuff. But you're seeing it more often than other teams. I'm seeing Tate Banks looking at the safeties just to make sure everything is right, double checking, doing that. Meanwhile, the safety's trying to figure out what's going on as well. Guys are not on the same page. We're seeing missed tackles. Again, these are things that can be cleaned up. This is execution stuff. Tackling is tackling. And if the New York Giants were able to hold on to Jaden Daniels, you're probably looking at double-digit sacks in week 2. But that's neither here or there. Is there a path to victory for the New York Giants against the Cleveland Browns? Of course there is. Of course there is. It's all about the execution, though. Keys to victory are the same thing every week for every team. Be able to run the ball and stop the run. Now, depending on the level of your quarterback, you might not be able to run the ball, but if you got a Patrick Mahomes back there, you're always going to be in the game. For the New York Giants, we don't have that luxury. We have to be able to run the ball. will Brian Dable stick with the run if it's not successful? Last week we saw the running game be successful, and we saw the offense in regards to Malik Neighbors open up as well. I think that after last week, no surprise, defense are going to be working towards eliminating Malik Neighbors. Whether it's over the top, maybe if it's bracketing, if it's press. We saw that Brian Dable has moved Malik Neighbors around a lot to avoid the press, free releases, and the man is dangerous when it comes to things like that. Can he continue to do that? What is the chess match going to look like between Jim Schwartz and Brian Dable? And who's going to make the correct adjustments if need be? And who's going to be quicker to get to those adjustments if need be? That's where the big matchup is. And then when you go to the defensive side, how much better is this defense with more time? Can these guys continue to get this defense down? Because, again, my feelings are they do not have this defense down yet. And, again, this is only 2 weeks, but this is the importance of preseason. Why it's so important to play these, even though it's vanilla on offense and defense, but you need to be able to get the communication down. And when you're playing only one half of football in the entire preseason, and you got guys that are injured, guys not playing together, starters not playing together, you tend to see sloppy football, in the first couple of weeks. And we've seen it with the best teams, and we've seen it with the worst teams as well. The bad teams are bad. The good teams, have a chance to overcome it. Overcome the sloppiness. We're not that team right now. So it's all about how this thing comes together, in my opinion. That's the thing. How is it going to come together? Can the defense execute the game plan of Shane Bowen? And is the game plan of Shane Bowen good enough to beat the offense of the Cleveland Browns? And when we're thinking about the offense, can the game plan that Brian Dable draws up, his game plan, whatever this game plan is going to be, can the players execute that game plan against one of the best defenses in the league? And that's pretty much the matchup. That's the preview. We got a tough Cleveland Browns team, and just remember how bad the Cleveland Browns have been in the past, and it seems like a role reversal. Now, we're the team trying to find an identity. We're the team that's the laughingstock of the NFL, and we got to go out and prove ourselves, or prove not to be the laughingstock each and every Sunday, or whatever that game day is going to be. So, of course, you know me, man. You guys know me. At the end of the day, go Big Blue. I'm rooting for the wins. You know what? I need a victory on Sunday, and I need to celebrate on Victory Monday. That's what I want from this team. But I'll be lying if I told you guys I was comfortable or if I felt good about this game against the Browns. One thing I'll tell you this, though. My parlays have been trash. And every team that I've bet to win has almost lost. Not all of them, but my parlays have been killed by teams that were favorites. So I'm going to do things a little bit different this time. I'm going to waste a little bit of money, I think. I think I'm going to waste a little bit of money. I'm going to bet every NFC East team to win. Washington, Philly, Dallas. I'm going to do a 3-game parlay, a 3-leg parlay, and just test my what's the word I'm looking for? Test the idea that whatever team I bet is going to win loses, because it's a little reverse psychology. I'm going to bet on these teams in hope that they lose, and if they win, guess what? I get to win some money. It is what it is, and then I'll see what I want to do with the Giants versus Cleveland. I don't usually bet on a Giants game. I usually leave that game alone, but I'm curious to see what happens. Maybe I bet on the Browns in hopes that the New York Giants win. Maybe. Maybe, man. Maybe. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's going to be my preview. Keys to victory. Players to watch. I'll say this. Outside of the normal guys, outside of Malik Neighbors, Daniel Jones, offensive line, outside of those guys, I need Hyatt, and that's a long shot because I believe the doghouse that Hyatt is in is like Fort Knox right now. He's locked in. But Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, Tyrone Tracy, Eric Gray. I didn't say Devin Singletary because he did have a solid game. I need those guys to step up. On the defensive side, Tyler Nubin, Tay Banks, I need good games from them. I need another solid game from Andrew Phillips. So I'm watching the secondary for sure. Watching the secondary for sure. And I'm also watching what Shane Bowen's plan is for the linebackers. You get Darius Mursal back this week. Nick McLeod, the only guy that's still on the injury report or did not practice. So everybody else is practicing, either limited or full participant, outside of just Nick McLeod. I want to see what happens with these linebackers. And then the big thing is which guy, not named Dexter Lawrence, on that defensive line is going to solidify themselves or at least step up and have a solid game. Dexter Lawrence cannot play 100% of the snaps. He's too big to do that. Pause. He's too big to do that. Nacho, Jordan Riley, Elijah Chapman, DJ Davison. I know we don't like these names. I like Elijah Chapman, but, he's a UDFA. He's in the league with the big boys now. But Nacho, Jordan Riley, DJ Davison, I need you guys to step up. Somebody solidify themselves next to Dexter Lawrence. Somebody solidify themselves to the point where when Dexter Lawrence needs to take a breather, the whole fan base doesn't sigh. I need somebody to step up. I need one of you guys to step up on the defensive line. But we also need this game plan. Speaking of stepping up, I need the cornerbacks to step up. These 7-8 yard cushions are not going to do it, especially when we're not getting pressure. You're creating natural separation without even trying. Like their wide receivers not even just open, finding the open spots in the zone. I understand you don't play press man, Shane Bowen, but you might need to do a little press man. And guess what? The Cleveland Browns have wide receivers, man. Judy, Cooper. They got wide receivers. I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on the third guy. The wide receivers go 3-4 deep. But we can't be afraid to play ball. We need to be able to dictate. That's one thing I liked about Wink at the end of the day. He dictated on defense. He dictated. We're sitting back in the soft zone, letting the offense play in front of us. And guess what? They're killing us. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. We can't survive that way. The bend but don't break. We've seen it time and time again, and it does not work, and the fan base is not going to have it. We need to be a little bit more aggressive, and we saw it last week when you did send the blitz, Shane Bowen. The guys were able to get some pressure. Jaden Daniels is Jaden Daniels. He can break 1,000 tackles. We saw that. Not everybody is Jaden Daniels. Deshaun Watson is a pretty good damn athlete himself, but he still is not at the level of Jaden Daniels, or at least not anymore. And that brings me to another point, tackling. Once you get your hands on somebody, get them down. Especially if you're a linebacker, get the person, especially if it's against a quarterback, get them down. Get them down. Fundamentals, man. It's just the fundamentals. But yeah, man, that's going to be the video. That's going to be the preview. Not really a preview, but just my thoughts on the game, I should say, disclaimer, whatever. But just how I feel about this game. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.